All right, BAD 2700, welcome to week 6 already. So last week we finished up part 3 and we looked at specifically the notion of staffing. And if you remember, the key thing about staffing for a leader and a manager is to make sure that we get the right people in the right place at the right time with the right skills, the right abilities, the right training, doing the right job to focus on productivity. That's what we're all about, is trying to make sure that we can get the most out of each employee as possible. So this week we're going to look at part 4, and we're going to talk about employee development, and specifically we're going to look at chapter 7, where we manage performance and appropriately evaluate it. So when we talk about employee appraisals, we've all been there. They're not fun times. Oftentimes they're emotional discussions to have with a boss or with employees that you may have, but it's really a clear-cut process. When we look at it, we're going to identify what has to be done and what are the metrics, the standards associated with what needs to be done. We're going to measure the employee against those standards, and then the last part we're going to do is we're going to manage. We're going to think about what that information is telling us. What are the standards? What's the employee doing? And what do we need to do from there? Do we need more training? Do we need to focus on different areas? Is the employee even in the right area? So those are all questions that we may look at. The key is that we've got to look at how we document performance over time. The goal is always to see improvement in each and every employee over time, consistently. So measure against a common standard, adjust based on that measurement, and then focus on the way ahead. So one of the concepts that we have to do is we have to think about the what and what are the metrics are associated with that. What is the standard? How is everybody measured? And we need to make sure that we strive always to have objective standards and not subjective. So if I give you an example, and we build bicycles in our manufacturing plant, and I say that you must perform well at bicycle assembly. What does that even mean? What does the term well means, and by whose definition? So if we have 5 different evaluators, they may determine that an employee performed differently based on that subjective standard. So on the other hand, if we take this and apply an objective evaluation criteria to it, we could say that you must assemble a minimum of 10 bicycles per hour with no more than 2 assembly errors per hour. That is an objective standard. Anybody can evaluate any employee based on those standards. Now, when we get to the management piece, if we see that one employee is falling behind in completing the number of bicycles per hour, but they have good quality, they very rarely have an error in their assembly process, we know that we can act upon that. We need to evaluate what's going on with their speed, how we get them to move faster. Conversely, if the employee is very fast, and let's say they do 12 bicycles an hour, but they have at least an error in every bicycle, and somebody has to go back and do rework. Now we know we need to get that employee to just slow down and focus on the quality aspect. So the key is to have objective standards that we can measure every employee, and then be able to take that information we get and act upon it. Do something with it. Make changes to better productivity in the future. This week you have another ethics discussion. I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing your work, but I want you to make sure that you dig deep. I want you to make sure that you respond to at least 2 of your classmates. I want you to make sure that you use the textbook, use other reference material, and really get to the heart of the subject. Push yourself, question others. Let's have a great discussion. I look forward to seeing your work this week, and as always, I hope you have a great week. Thank you.